Well, hi there, food friends. It's Kevin,
And Marianne behind the camera.
and welcome to Cavalcade of Food at Home. Sister and I are at home today, and we were at one of the farmers' markets here a couple days ago, and check this out, Mare. We got apples, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And here in Michigan, anyways, Michigan is a really big apple producing state. And apples are grown all over the state of Michigan. And frankly, there's a lot of parts in the country that do a lot of apple growing. So maybe you happen to be lucky enough to be in an apple growing region. So when basically September through November is apple time here, and that means going to the apple orchards and the farmers markets and apple cider and apple everything. And I still may, because we got apples still, Mare. Maybe I'll make a pie tomorrow, an apple pie. I've done one on Cavalcade of Food. I did it years ago, I think probably at the cottage. I'll put a link somewhere, or you can search for it if you want to see how to do an apple pie. But you know what I'm going to make this time, Mare? Something really simple, and something that we can have with dinner, which is apple sauce. How about that?
Sounds good.
We like applesauce, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And applesauce is really easy to make. So when I make a pie, I like to use a variety of apples. So like here, Marianne, I've got some Jonagolds and some Macintosh and some Ida Reds and some Honey Crisp thrown in for a little sweetness. And so I've got a dozen apples here. And so what we're going to do is we're going to prepare these as I would for a pie or an apple crisp or anything else. Now when you're making apple sauce, you can, if you want, you can keep the skins on. It's up to you. I don't like to keep them on because sometimes some of the skins tend to be on the bitter side. So I just assume take them off. So what I use is I just use a good old vegetable peeler. Mary, have you ever seen those gizmos that peel apples? They're kind of like on a crank and they turn around.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have one of those. So anyways, it's okay. I just use a vegetable peeler. I find it does a good job, does not take off a lot of apple, and gets us right down to business. And I'm going to just peel them here, like so. And I'll put them in a bowl. And I'm going to do that to all these dozen apples here. And then I'll cut them up for our applesauce we're making homemade here on Cavalcade of Food at Home. Well, Mare, all right, we've got our apples peeled. I've got a pot here, put the apples in. Now, if you have one of these little gizmos, sometimes they're handy. Basically, you've got a hole there which you put over the core, and you just go down like that. And you've got your apples sliced very neatly, and you've got your core, which we don't want. So you can use one of these. If you don't have one of these, hold on. Now, of course, this one's going to, there we go. If you don't have one of these, do not fret, because you can just use a knife. So, and just sort of cut around. Here's our core. I'm just going to go down here, and then like so, and like so, and like so. So here's the core, and then we can just cut these apples up into chunks, as if we were kind of slicing up for a pie. So I'm going to get all these apples here, cored and sliced, and then I'm going to add, I've got 12 apples here, and I'm going to add to these 12 apples about 3/4 of a cup of water. And that's should be enough to get things started. I know that doesn't sound like a lot of water for 12 apples, but you know what apples are mostly, Mare?
Water.
That's right. Like most other fruits and vegetables, there's a lot of water, so we should be okay with just that amount. So let me finish up here, and then we'll go to the stove and we'll get cooking with our homemade 4-apple applesauce. Okay, honey, we got our pot on the stove here, and you can see there's my water. I put 3/4 of a cup of water in here. It's just coming to a boil. And of course, you know, apples, as they cook, the oxidation starts. See how they're starting to turn brownish?
Yeah.
And so they'll continue to get darker. But basically what you want to do is you want to cook these over medium heat. You want to keep that simmer going until these apples are going to gradually break down. Now I'm not adding anything in terms of sugar or seasoning yet. I want to see how the apples taste on their own, and then I'll determine how much sugar maybe should be added. And you know, everybody, this is one of these things where it's to taste how sweet you like your applesauce, or how not sweet. Whether or not you prefer to put a little cinnamon in it or not. So that's up to you. But we're coming up to a boil here, and we're going to just let these apples cook away. I don't know if they're already sort of starting to flatten a little bit, because as they cook and get hotter, it'll release their water, and then it'll all go in there. So anyways, this is probably going to take 25-30 minutes or so for those apples to really totally break down, and then we'll come back and see how we're doing in terms of what we need to add to get it to our liking. We are making homemade applesauce using 4 different kinds of apples on today's Cavalcade of food at home. So Mary, let's show our friends. These apples have been cooking now for about 15 minutes. You see what's going on? See how I don't know if you can tell, some of them are really getting pulpy now, and they're starting to break down slowly. And we're just going to give these a little stir. I've turned the heat down, and we're just going to see how it's already. Can you see how we're already making applesauce?
Yep.
That's the other thing. We like our applesauce fairly smooth.
Right.
But there is such a thing as chunky applesauce. And if you wanted to keep yours chunky, maybe you'd want to cook it for another 5-8 minutes or so, and leave it and kind of let it ride right there. so that it still has the texture. But we like ours really soft and almost as a puree. So, and of course, because we used 4 different varieties of apples, some of those apples are firmer. It's just their natural texture. And some of them are really soft. And it's the soft ones that are already turning to sauce. So I'm going to put the lid back on, and we will let this do its thing. Okay, Mares, it's been about 25 minutes now. So come on in and take a look. See what we got now? Now, I'm going to get our friend here. You know what this is, right?
Potato masher.
That's right.
And today it's an apple masher.
Today it's an apple masher. So, what I'm going to do is for those apples that were just a little firmer, I'm just going to help break them down a little bit. Very easy to do. We've got a real nice consistency here going of the apples. Beautiful color, sort of a light brown. Okay. Stir that up too, because I really want all those 4 different varieties to really meld. Okay, now I'm going to take just a little taste, just to see. Wow. It's actually, Mare, you know, I put in a couple of those, Honeycrisp. 3 of them were Honeycrisp, and it's on the sweeter side, naturally. And so, if we wanted to sweeten it up just a little bit, this is where everybody, I'm going to tell you to do it to taste. So I'm going to put just a little sugar in here. We've got, Mare, what's our favorite sugar?
Pioneer sugar.
And where is it made?
Croswell, Michigan.
Thank you very much. Made from the finest sugar beets grown right here in Michigan in the thumb. I've got a 1/4 cup. I'm going to put half of one. I'm going to put 1/8 of a cup of sugar in there, and that's all. Because we do not like we buy applesauce, don't we normally get the unsweetened kind?
Yep, that's it.
So we don't like super sweet applesauce, but to each his own. And again, just taste it and see. Start with a little bit, like we're doing. Now, I do like a little cinnamon in my applesauce, and I think my sister does too. Don't you?
Yes, I do.
So we're going to put, maybe half a teaspoon or so in there. Again, this is just to taste, just to give it a little hint of cinnamon. We don't want a spicy applesauce. And I'm going to let this cook now with the sugar and the cinnamon in for about another 5 minutes. And then we will come back for our final tasting. Well, here it is, Mare. The final product. Put a little bit in here. Now, fresh homemade applesauce is wonderful to serve warm. I think. It's a real treat. It's almost like the inside of an apple pie, Mare. And certainly great with a lot of, pork and even chicken. I mean, I like applesauce with everything, don't you?
Yeah.
But I think that, let it come cool down on the stove and, put it in a sealable container and keep it in the fridge, and it'll keep a week. There's no. You saw what this was: apples, water, a little sugar, a little cinnamon. That's it. That's all that's in here. So look at that, though. How beautiful is that? Love the color. Delicious. Just wonderful. And if you have guests over for dinner and they've never had, like, people think, oh, applesauce. You serve homemade applesauce as a side, and you will wow your guests because it is really special. Certainly easy enough to make. The hardest part was peeling and slicing up the apples. So, anyways. All right, I'm going to save the rest for dinner. Can I thank my sister for working that camera?
You're
Thanks,
welcome.
Tuds. And let's thank our food friends for watching, Mare, and remind them what that magical website is.
Cavalcadeoffood.com.
You got it. And we ask that you subscribe, share, and like if you're so inclined. We hope everyone's having a beautiful autumn. Stay well, everyone, and we'll see you again real soon back here on Cavalcade of Food. Bye.
Bye.